Hey guys, what's up? It's Spartacus here. So today I'm going to be doing a how to play Handlock video. Handlock is one of those classes that is very popular and just probably will never go away. It's incredibly powerful. It's been called the King of Control. It's one of those classes that is just so good. Like there are very few, if any, like counters to Handlock. Hunter used to be a counter to Handlock, but now that Handlock can run double heal bot and has a lot of heals, that's not necessarily the case anymore. Handlock is just a very solid class, very consistent class, and one worth learning, but also one that's a little bit difficult to play. So I'm going to do my best to help out you guys out there, and hopefully you'll be better Handlock players by the end of this video. So first, we'll just check out the deck here. Actually, I want to make one little change to the deck as well, and I'll tell you why I'm going to make it soon as this loads. What is going on here? Come on. Okay, so Handlock. So I'm going to take out Alexstrasza and put in Jiraxis. Now, right now, I really don't like Jiraxis. Uh, Jiraxis is everyone's playing like a Harrison Jones because of how popular Grim Patron Warrior is. I should specify that this is July 6th, so the meta is very heavy Patron Warrior right now. Luckily, Handlock is very good against that, but because everyone's playing that, there are a lot of Harrisons out there, so Jiraxis can kind of be a liability, which is why I kind of like Alexstrasza a little bit more. But I think Jiraxis is a very interesting card and very important card to learn how to use, and will never all quite disappear from Handlock, which is why I want to use him in this video. Other changes, this deck list is like really standard, except for the Ragnaros. And what I would usually do probably is take out the Ragnaros and put in the Lotheb, and that wouldn't be bad at all. I just really like the Ragnaros right now. I'm kind of trying it out, I could say. It's been working really well for me, and the reason why is because there are two Moltons, two Mountains, a Dr. Boom, and a Ragnaros, and those targets can all get hit by a big game hunter. So basically, the best, or like, they're probably going to use a big game hunter on one of these things, and if your Ragnaros can hit the board and they can't answer it, you can just win the game. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been on the other end of a Ragnaros you just can't handle, but it is scary. So I'm kind of seeing how that's working out a little bit, and so far it's doing very well. So yeah, other than that, pretty standard stuff. Two Hellfires, one Shadow Flame. It's better against aggro. You don't need to set up the Shadow Flame. One Argus, two Sun Furies. This is all very standard stuff these days. So yeah. So we're just going to dive in, play a few games. I'm at a little bit of a low rank, actually, at the moment. I've been focusing on my EU account this month. So we might have some easier opponents, but I think that the lessons learned will still be fine. So let's just dive right into it here. So I've been playing a Handlock a really long time, since, I don't know, maybe it was like the first deck I put my dust into to craft. So it was like the first, like, quote unquote good control deck I was able to play. So I spent a lot of time with it, and so I know what I'm doing. That golden warrior or warlock portrait is mostly Handlock. So yeah, we're just going to play a few games. Hope the thing about Handlock is that there's just so many different decisions, which is why it's pretty difficult. Like there's so many different paths you can take, and all of them result in the game going different directions. So it's really important to choose the correct one. And also, the mulligan for Handlock is extremely important. Even though you do tap to get a lot of cards, against aggro, if you have the wrong cards, you're just going to lose. No ifs, ands, or buts. So, hopefully this is Patron Warrior. Even if it's control, we kind of just want the Twilight Drake. So against control, or like combo, which I guess is what Patron is, you're looking for your Mountain Giants and your Twilight Drakes. That's pretty well the deal. So, yep. That's pretty well the way it goes. Sometimes there are certain cards that you do want that are good in matchups against other control decks. For example, BGH against a Handlock, but for the most part, it's the Mountain Giants and the Twilight Drakes. So when we go first and we don't have the coin, we are able to tap turn 2 and turn 3 without overdrawing and then play our Twilight Drake. When you do have the coin, you can tap on turn 2, but then you have to either not tap and just play nothing, or play something. And then you'll get, if you don't, okay, if you have the coin and you don't tap, and you don't play anything, then you'll end up with 10 cards. If you play something, and because you play something you don't have the mana to tap, you'll end up with 9 cards. And on 4 mana, in order to play a Mountain Giant, you need 9 cards. So that's about the sweet spot, which is why you usually see someone with the coin drop something on turn 3. Okay, so he's setting up for his card draw. This is a Grim Patron Warrior. So what we usually do, and the way things usually work against control and in general when you don't feel that much pressure, is you play the Twilight Drake first. This allows me next turn to actually tap and play the Molten Giant for 3 mana. And it's really important to tap a lot early on with Handlock. You want as many cards as possible because later on you're not going to be able to tap. So being able to fit in the ability to tap is incredibly important. That extra card sometimes wins you the game. So we'll see what happens here. This is very difficult for Grim Patron Warriors to deal with. Unless they're running BGH, Giants and Twilight Drakes are tough for them to deal with. Oh, that's an owl. That's very interesting. Not something you see very often. It makes me think that we might see a BGH as well if he's teching in these types of answers, which is a little bit scary. I don't want my Molten Giant to get BGH'd. I have no answers for that, really. I suppose I do have Ancient Watcher Shadow Flame, but I prefer to save that for when the board's a little more threatening. So he's going to put on some more damage, which is what you have to do as a Grim Patron Warrior against a Handlock. You got to get them down a little bit so you can set up for your big Throttling combo. So I still feel pretty safe. Getting out this Mountain Giant's just very, very strong here. So this is a very standard play against in control matchups. Tap, the Mountain Giant gets reduced to 3 when you're at 10 cards, and you play it, you're still at 9. It's always important to make sure that you don't overdraw, so always keep an eye on that card count in your hand. So if you do like tap at the end of your turn into 10 cards, that's not good. Looks like he has an execute, otherwise he probably would have slammed my... Or maybe he's digging for one. Actually, probably. So the Thorson here is going to be really powerful. He's probably going to execute that based on that little attack there. Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't have one. He's almost halfway through the deck, so he probably does. But looking at this play, it doesn't look like he has one. So yeah, okay. So Thorson is incredibly good in this deck. Oh, so he just shield blocked into one. Wow. So we finally... Oh, into a shield slam. Okay, interesting. That's good. Now we got full board initiative here. Okay, so he's going to bring my health down to 15. I'm still feeling all right. On 6 mana without a Thorson, he can't kill me or anything like that. And I'm going to get incredible value on this card. So Thorson, reducing the cost of 9 cards is insane. Reducing the cost of Jiraxis is really, really good, because then you can Jiraxis and get an Infernal out in the same turn, or you can tap and then play Jiraxis, whichever, if you need the card or if you prefer the 6/6. So a really powerful card to get reduced. Every card is very good to get reduced, but Jiraxis especially. Okay. So there's a few things I can do here. I can be greedy actually and play Hellfire, double Mortal Coil, but that's just really, really greedy. I think I'll have to sacrifice my Thorson and play a Molten and a Watcher. I don't have any Taunt Givers yet, unfortunately, but I don't think I'll die here. If I do die, then it's very unfortunate. Against Grim Patron Warrior, for the most part, you want to try your best to keep the minions on your side of the board low. That way they can't use your minions to pump up their Throbbing Berserkers. So, just something to keep in mind. I'm okay having two minions on my side of the board, but it is definitely something to note. So, basically, his Handlock against combo decks, you kind of you need to keep tapping to get your Molten Giants out. Like that's really important. But you also just need to think about. Oh, looks like he has an Execute or something. And you also need to think about like how much damage they can produce to each turn, and then taunt up when that damage seems like it's getting to be too much. I can Jiraxis here, but that's pretty crappy. Um, it's looking like some sort of like I can Shadow Flame and then Belcher. He doesn't appear to have like a big combo yet. Okay, we'll do that. I'm Shadow Flaming because I can always Hellfire later, and maybe at that point I'll have my other Molten Giant. So this Shadow Flame also is because the Ancient Watcher is out there. Hmm. We really need Taunt Givers. We've seen two Executes though, which is quite nice. We need threats. Our hand is actually rather poor right now. We need to get some Mortal Coil value so that we can draw more cards. There's some Mortal Coil value. Actually, no, because he's going to attack, it looks like. He really doesn't have much then. I'm not sure what he's got in his hand, but he must want to keep this 1-2 alive or something. Uh, there's merit in me running this 1-2 in here. I haven't actually seen any patrons or anything like that. It's completely possible that this deck is actually what's it called? Raging Worgen OTK, and that's a little worrisome. I think I gotta tap. Okay. Play a heal bot here. I'm scared of Grim Patrons, so I want to get rid of anything with less than 3 attack. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any indication of Grim Patron combos. And this Raging Worgen deck has been around a little bit, so we're going to see. So many directions, though, you can see in Handlock. Oh, yeah, there you go. He win? Damn, that would suck. Charge. Inner Rage. Is that enough? 10. Yeah, that's enough. Wow. That's frustrating. I think that deck has just a very good matchup against Handlock because you have to tap to bring your health low, and then you're susceptible to that combo. So it's the same issue that you have with Druid. Um, and that's just a bad matchup for us. Patron is different because Patron, in order to get that big throttling charge, you need like a lot of minions on board, and Handlock can usually deal with all those minions with Hellfires and stuff. But this is 20. That was just 20 damage from the hand, and there's just nothing you can do as a Handlock, which is really the big issue of the deck. It can get bursted down because it can't keep its health very high. It's why it has such a tough time against Malygos Warlock as well. So it's something you need to keep in mind, and perhaps a better player would have been able to win that game, but that was just very difficult, especially because I didn't know what deck I was playing against. I assumed it was Grim Patron. If I had known that it was that, I might have played much differently. So, upsetting loss there, but I think that everything I said still stands. And sometimes, I mean, I'm not at that higher rank right now, and you just see some odd decks sometimes. So against Priest, historically a very good matchup. I'm not sure about Light Bomb Priest is better against it than let's say the classic Priest, because eventually Priest just can't deal with all the big threats, and Light Bomb's pretty good at that. The thing that really wins this matchup is Jiraxis, so Jiraxis will be good here, most likely, unless he has a Harrison. But still, it's really tough for Priest to deal with, like 6-6 after 6-6, because they have no burst, so you can feel pretty comfortable keeping your health pretty low against Priest. So again, a control matchup, so Twilight Drakes and Mountain Giants, and we have a Twilight Drake, which is excellent against Priest, early on especially. Later on they can Shrinkmeister Cabal it, but on turn 4 they just really have no answer. And we can follow that up with our Mountain Giant. Looking like with the first turn Cleric, it's probably going to get, buffed. So we can expect that. Nothing I can really do. If I had a Dark Bomb, I could go with a Coin Dark Bomb, and I would definitely consider it. I'm not sure if I would do it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're drawing threat after threat after threat. So what we really need now is something to play. So if you have 2 Twilight Drakes, so let's say I were to draw Twilight Drake in the next couple cards, it's perfectly acceptable to coin Twilight Drake into Twilight Drake. It works out just fine. But in this case, if I were to coin Twilight Drake, then I wouldn't be able. Would I be able to play my Mountain Giant on the next turn? No, I would coin it, and then I wouldn't be able to play my Mountain Giant, which is a problem. So I might just not play anything here. I mean, I could play an Owl, but that's not very good. That actually just helps him draw, no matter what I silence. If I silence this, he draws with that. If I silence that, he draws with this. So it is a turn 3 pass, unfortunately. That's pretty annoying. So what I can do here is Mortal Coil the 3-1. Mortal Coil, you have to remember it cycles itself. So I still have the Mountain Giant. The other play is to play the Twilight Drake, but I really wanted to get rid of that 3-1. So, yeah, and that's why the Twilight Drake is sometimes just better, because of what just happened there. Hopefully I'm able to... Okay. He's not afraid of my Molten Giants, and unfortunately I don't have any. But yeah. I can play Mountain Giant, and I can also Dark Bomb this Cleric off, stop him from drawing. If the Priest can't draw, I can't win. I still feel alright. Hopefully there's no crazy burst. Whoa! What the heck? Are you serious? Oh, this is what happens when you play at these ranks. What the heck deck is this? Oh my goodness. Okay, well, you can see how valuable information was. I just assumed that the priest had no burst. But we just lost in what should have been very comfortable, and I was feeling comfortable. Even at 12 health, I was like, oh, we're fine. Who the heck runs Mind Blast? It just doesn't happen. And if it does, it's only the only value that it gets is the fact that it's surprising. That deck can't be doing that well for him. But yeah, good for him, but a little bit salty over that, to be honest. Hmm. I could have hellfired at one point. I could have won that game. There's no doubting I could have won that game with a completely different line of plays, but I didn't expect a Mind Blast. Maybe I should have when the Thalnos came out. That's possible. That's maybe my error on that side. Okay, hopefully we can get some wins here. Okay, so Mage. Mage you have to assume is aggro. And when assuming aggro, you got to mulligan completely differently. So what you want are Dark Bombs, Mortal Coils, Ancient Watchers, Sun Fury Protectors, Molten Giants. That's pretty well it. Twilight Drakes aren't bad either, but I'm going to throw it back just because I'd like something a little earlier. So yeah, everything I just listed, pretty well what you want to keep. Sometimes you don't keep Molten Giant. Mountain Giant is the worst. Mountain Giant is literally the worst. Unless they get a bad start, you're never going to play the thing. Owl's pretty good though. But yeah, it just it's a really poor card in aggro matchups. Looks like Mech Mage maybe. Uh, Pretty easy tap there. It was either that or Ironbeak Owl or Dark Bomb. Dark Bomb we're gonna want to play on the Mech Warper if it's Mech Mage, or it could be Temple Mage, but we're gonna want to play it on something else then. Um, Owl we're also going to want to sound something different. And in these matchups, it's also incredibly important to note that we might actually get the Mountain Giant out now. That's cool. I'm okay with my health getting out. This Ancient Watcher is really important because against Mage, they run Mirror Entity, right? So what happens is that is the card that you want to get copied. I mean, getting a Ironbeak out copied isn't bad either, but you really, really, really want to get that Ancient Watcher copied because they can't even do anything with it. Okay, so I could Dark Bomb that, but I'm okay. I kind of want to lose some health so I can play my Molten Giants. It's always good to kind of evaluate what you have in your hand, and that way you can kind of be flexible with where your health is at. Decks with Burst have an inherent advantage against like Handlock. They can do a pretty good job, which is why Lotheb is usually just so good in the matchup or in the deck, and is definitely worth putting in most of the time. I'm just trying out Rhinosaurus right now because he can stop big burst combos from spells. Okay, so we got rid of a Fireball. I can tap and play a Mountain Giant, actually. That gets me down to 16 health. I don't have any heal in my hand, which is something I had to think about. I do have Jiraxis, which is heal, in a way. So I can tap Mountain Giant, and that would mean... That'd be okay. I'm okay with my health getting a little bit lower. He's had kind of a slow start. He seems to be kind of saving up for a big Flame Waker combo or big Antonitis combo. Um, the Antonitis combo, the only way to beat that is to be counter aggressive, so to establish big threats. And that's why I'm going to start establishing big threats. Okay. This is pretty good for me. We're going to try and trigger the Mirror Entity. Hopefully it's that. Yep. And then we get down a big Drake, a 4/9. We'll get that board. Now he's behind. Oh wow, a Polymorph. Might not be great to practice down here. We are only like 5 days into the season, so there still is like excellent players down here and whatnot. But you just see some weird decks. They're not the standard stuff, quote unquote. You wouldn't really see a polymorph in a tempo mage. A little too slow. Okay, so there's the Mech Yeti. I guess this Ancient Watcher is going to soak up bomb hits, maybe. Okay, so it's looking like it's a Molten Giant and a Dark Bomb here. I'm going to play it this way just in case I don't even have to play the Dark Bomb. Then I might be able to get out. Okay. Like an Owl or something on my Ancient Watcher. So now we go really aggressive. We have to realize that his win condition now is probably Antonidas, which means that our way to win is to kind of counteract that. Yeah, so there's Antonidas, and he'll be able to get one Fireball here. Crap. Wait. Oh, the coin! Oh, no! Oh, this is terrible. And a emergency coolant. This is just awful. If I Hellfire here, I actually almost go into lethal range. I think I still have to do it, though. So what I can do... So here's the plan, guys. Here's the plan. We Hellfire, and in doing so, we bring ourselves down to 13. He has 9 mana, meaning 2 Fireballs and a Ping isn't possible yet. So we should still stay alive, and then we Jiraxxus on the next turn. The Hellfire allows us to clear through everything, and then we'll be down to 3, so we'll play a 3-mana Molten, so that'll be 7 mana, so we'll still be able to... We have to kill that with the Dr. Boom, though, and maybe Taunt Up or something. Okay, so... Fortunately, we have to make this trade, don't we? Yes, it appears so. Play the Owl, get a little more damage, and threaten lethal if he doesn't kill me. So he has to kill me or clear, or we just win. That might that might end up in him putting some Fireballs in the weird spots. So. 7. Flame Strike, my goodness. So now we actually have to Jiraxxus, because he has 2 Fireballs and a Ping. He can just win. So there's no other play here. But if he has a Frostbolt in his hand, we just lose. So we're kind of hoping he doesn't have one of his 2 Frostbolts, and unfortunately, percentages aren't on our side here. So fingers crossed. Oh yeah, we win. Oh, we don't. What the heck is this deck? Oh my goodness. What am I playing against here? A Tempo Mage with a heal bot? Okay. I have so many taunt givers, so it's okay to use one like this. I don't want to use my face to hit that. I'm just concerned about him having enough burst. I'd like to keep my health at 15. He's used the 2 Fireballs, though, or 2 of the Fireballs. Yeah. He's used 2 Fireballs, and he got... Did he get 3 from Antonidas? I wasn't quite paying attention. I thought the game would end sooner than that. So I know he played the mirror image plus the coin, and I assume he played a spare part. Yes, because he had 2 in his hand. So he has 1 more fireball. There it is. Okay. So that's what I was kind of hoping for. Wow. He's used 4 fireballs this game. That's actually insane. But it looks like I've kind of like weathered the storm. That's just a win, right? Yeah, that's just a win. Okay, so we got through this very interesting tempo-ish mage deck. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'll play one more. You can see, though, how to beat aggro sometimes has to do with the Molten Giants counteracting, especially against Hunter, if we do get to play a Hunter, or in general. You play your big threats, and suddenly you represent lethal on board. You can see how I forced him to have lethal, or I win. You know what I mean? Or he has to use his resources to clear my big board. Um, and that's what Molten Giants can do. There's just such a tempo swing. So if you have them in your hand, you don't have to be afraid to get down on low health, especially if your opponent doesn't have like direct damage. That's why Handlock is so favored against Zoo, because they usually have to use minions to kill you. So you can get out just big tempo swings and taunts, and it's very difficult for them to get through. So like if a hunter does get you down to 10 health, for example, and you can play double Molten Giant and taunt up, like I don't know, that's how much damage on board. 18. Let's just say for some reason they're at like 22. You can scare them into having to play defensively, and making an aggro deck play defensively is not what they want to do, and is extremely good for you. They're just not equipped to play defensively. Okay, so against a Warlock, it's very important to look at their mulligan. If they mulligan like all their cards or most of their cards, they're probably a Handlock or like a Mallylock or something slower. If they keep them, then they're probably a Zoo. And as a Warlock, we mulligan differently based on that. It looks like he might have just kept them all, which suggests maybe Zoo. I'm gonna keep the Twilight Drake just in case, and the Sun Fury Protector for Zoo. So this is for Handlock, this is for Zoo, and hopefully we get some other useful cards. Not really. In a Handlock mirror, I'm not sure that's what we have here. It doesn't look like it. He's already hovering over his options. Maybe though, I'm not sure. In a Handlock mirror, you want to go first. Unfortunately, I'm not. It's very important to go first. Everything just curves out so much better. Okay, so it is not a Handlock mirror. Luckily for me, though, it's kind of a slow start. Ooh. I have nothing to play next turn right now. Yeah, we'll chat more. We'll evaluate our options. That is a very good thing to silence, though. There are a lot of good things to silence in Zoo, though, so you have to kind of weigh it a little bit. Molten Giant, very good in this matchup. Twilight Drake is pretty good here, too. Maybe it would have been good to play the Owl last turn. Now it's probably going to get picked off, unfortunately. Yeah, it's probably... I probably would have... Or I probably should have played it last turn. Then it could have gotten a good trade in or something. Oh, no. Implosion is one of those cards I think is just broken, because if it gets the bad outcome, it like loses the game, and if it gets a good one, it just wins it. It's just way too swingy, way too RNG dependent, and oh, that's a draw. That's a draw. Pretty good Hellfire there, I would say. And actually, my health is at a pretty nice spot. I can get Molten Giant's out really cheap now. And I'm cool being at this against Zoo. What on earth am I facing? Really? Okay, so I'm just going to Hellfire again. I don't want that Hobgoblin to get value, and I only really Hellfired there because I can play a Molten Giant. Next turn, I can actually play Mountain Giant, Coin Sun Fury, and then we're in business. You can see how tempo swingy that is. Like, able to clear a board and develop an 8/8 in one turn is just so difficult for them to deal with. And why Molten Giant is so good against aggro. And I like to keep it. Some people don't, but I guess maybe not all aggro I like to keep it, but against really aggressive decks, so Hunter, I think Molten Giant is an instant keep, along with Owls, Mortal Coils, Dark Bombs, maybe Sun Fury, most likely Sun Fury. Oh, he didn't have anything to play there, right? Okay. I might not even, no. I think it's good to taunt up because it's incredibly possible that he could like have some sort of like Doomguard burst from the hand. So yeah, taunting up is good here. Sometimes you like to save it, but I already have another Sun Fury in my hand. So it's good as a handlock to evaluate what your next turn will be. Like it's like, oh, I double taunted up there, but I also have another one. You know what I mean? Like think about the resources you have in your hand, and it's like, oh, do I have my? And how many board clears do I have left, etc., etc. Okay, so we went 2-2 in this instructional thing. That priest game was insane. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any more questions about Handlock, feel free to post them in the comments. I guarantee I will respond. And if you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more Hearthstone guides. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.